All right, how's everybody doing? Thumbs up? Thumbs up, thumbs down, you can be honest. Anybody have an absolute crap day and we're counting on this to make it better? I mean, I'm hoping not, but just checking in.
No, good day.
Good deal. All right. All right, well, we have the snatch tonight. So we're gonna get started by picking up the pipe or I'm just gonna refer to it as the bar. And then whatever you're working with tonight, hopefully, you'll know what I'm talking about. We're going to start with some pass-throughs, yeah? Nice and easy. There we go. Now I can see everyone. I can see Scott's eyes, so there's that. All right. Good deal. Now really make sure to push that bar away from you, not just at the front, but as you're going through that back range of motion as well, so that it's a controlled, active movement all the way down and all the way back up. Okay, we're going to do some around the world. Nice and gentle, leaving one hand down by the side as close as you can. As Heath will now try to demonstrate. There we go. And then the other way. Nice and slow. Good. Then with the bar down in front of you, in front of your hips, we're going to pull into our snatch grip. So you can figure that out by tucking the bar into your hips and reaching out wide, bringing your hands in about a ½ inch and folding that thumb underneath the fingers for your hook grip. Thank you. All right. From here, I want you to put the bar up and back onto the back of your neck. And we're going to start with some twisting side to side. Nice and gentle. To start with, we're not going to move the hips. We're just going to move at the shoulders. Now we're going to bring in the hips and the knees for more rotation, but nice and slow, not fast, controlled. Good. Then coming back to forward facing, we're going to rock side to side, trying to get each end of that bar. Keep that grip that you had. Trying to get that bar as far down and as close to the knee as we can comfortably do. Keeping those legs straight, looking for a nice big stretch. Good. Then back up to the top. And from here, we're going to take our time doing 10 back squats. Nice and slow, focusing on pushing those hips back, keeping those knees out. Keeping the chest up. All right, then from the back of the neck, keeping that snatch grip, I want a good 5 strict presses up and overhead, but this is going to be slow, and you're going to press up to the ceiling for a good 3-second count. Think about pushing through the floor driving that bar up to the ceiling. 1, 2, 3, look up, Heath, keep straight ahead. There we go. And down. And then again, drive it up. 1, 2, 3, and down. Want to make sure that we're engaging those lats, pulling the belly button back to the spine. Nice and solid. And again, 2, 3, and down. And one more time. Nice. All right. Then we're going to come up into that overhead position and we're going to overhead squat. For 5, nice and slow. All right. If you have a door frame that is tall enough for you to stand with your overhead position in it, or you have a wall available, I want you to try, and if you don't, that's okay, Sophie. I see you looking around like I don't. So I'm watching some arm positions, turn sideways, and it's a little hard to tell from some of the camera angles, but it looks like we've got bars coming back and behind. You can see where Heath's at. We want that bar over the shoulders, over the hips, over the ankles. And the way to do this when you're at home and you don't have a coach to nag at you is you back up against the wall. You give yourself a foot of 6 inches of space at least. And then you try squatting up against that wall. Then you need to come out a little further. There we go. You got to give yourself room to proper squat, but that should help with that. Another alternative is if you loop that around your elbows twice, and this is awkward, so I'll warn you. Do you want me to do it? Okay. If you have a band or one of those business ties that's going completely unused right now, if you put the, there we go, put the band behind your head. It needs to be up a little higher. Here, come here. There we go. A band, a belt, whatever you have, then you should feel that item touching the back of your neck. Turn sideways. So he knows if he's in the right position because that band is touching the back of his neck. Turns forward again so they can see it. And you can do it with anything you've got, a belt, you know. It's an awkward one, but it can help you find that position if you can't feel it and you're on your own training at home. That's it, Izzy. Now you got to get the barbell in your hands.
Yeah.
That's a trick part. Do not try this with the weighted barbell, but it works really well with either choosing the wall or a band or whatever it is you have. If you don't have that, you're just fat, then I want you to try, if you can, to turn sideways to the camera so I can see the position of your stick. All right, and 5 more. If you're where you're at, then I want you to try your stick. All right, and 5. Good. Nice, Neil. Excellent, Sophie, but look straight ahead. Good. Yeah, George, just bring those arms a little forward, just a bit. There you go. Yeah. Excellent. Everybody's looking sharp. Nice. All right, we're going to bring those 2 together now. We had our behind the neck press and we've had our overhead squats. So we're going to look at the SOTS, behind the neck SOTS press. Heath is sighing heavily for those of you that can't hear him. Okay, so there's a lot of value in this exercise even with the stick. Yeah. And one of the things about that is getting into the position as low as you can. So I want you to get into your receipt position, wherever that is for your squat. But if you have a full squat, Chewy, out of the way. Come on. I want you to get fully down into the bottom of that squat. The idea is that you want to stay as tight as you can through that midsection. Bring that chest up nice and high. You're going to continue to push those knees out. And then without bouncing, we want to try to drive that stick straight up and back down. And then we're going to drive it straight up again and stand it up. We're going to spend a few minutes on this. Yeah. I want you to do a set of 2. And on the second one each time, you're going to stand up out of it. But I do not want you to rush. I want you to spend time in the bottom of that squat and feel solid. It's one of the benefits that we get out of this exercise. I got him. It's okay. Let's come back down to the bottom of your squat. We're going to drop down deep. Nice, Rich. Good, Neil. Now look straight ahead. As you press that bar up, squeeze everything. There you go. If you can, try to avoid moving your head. Bring that bar up over the shoulders, little Izzy. So not back, but straight up. There you go. That's better. Nice, Luke. Lovely position on the shoulders. But I want you to stand it up in the overhead squat. So your second press. Yep, and stand it up. Good. If you can, count for 2 to 3 seconds in each one of these positions. Between each 2, take a good break and shake it out. This is a very taxing, if you're doing it right, it should be fairly taxing. Yeah, he says, yeah. Keep driving that bar up to the ceiling as you stand up on that second press into your overhead squat or overhead extension. Good, Sophie. Try to keep that upper body as solid as you can during that press. The goal is we don't want to see any movement outside of the shoulders and the lats. If there's some initial bounce, that's just something that we're going to work on. Good. Straight up, Izzy. Stand it up. Good. Now from the next one, I want you deeper in that squat because I know your mobility goes low. You cannot hide. Good. Drop down into the bottom, sink into it, get comfortable. There you go. That's it. You've received think about it as having received that snatch. Can you drop down into the bottom? At your absolutely lowest point. This is where we're at. We need to be solid here. Ideally, I can get up and I can move him around. And he's still going to be solid enough to stand it up. There we go. So we want to get really comfortable in that bottom position with those arms overhead. Excellent. All right. All right, taking a break from that because that's a lot of work. We're going to look now at the pull under. So we're going to start in kind of an unnatural position, and unusually the arms may be bent a little bit. If you need to do that to keep the bar in your hip, then do. If you don't, that's fine too. For Heath, his full extension allows the bar to be in his hip. But what we want is that bar to be right in the hip, right where it is, with just There we go. And then we're going to come up just an inch above that with a slight bend, mostly coming from, yep, the shoulder blades back nice and tight. From here, he is going to pull himself under the bar super slow by bending those elbows and dropping at the same time. And stand it up. Good. And again, I want you to keep that bar closer to you this time. Tighter, 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 tighter. That's it. Good. All right. Same thing. This is really tiring. So you're going to go as slow as you can on that pull under. You're going to sit in the bottom for 3 seconds and then stand it up. Keeping that bar as close to you as you can. And then stand it up. Do that 3 times, then take a break. Nice, Sophie. Lovely speed. Keep it tight, keep it tight. Yes, Luke, that's good concentration, good game face. Bring that bar forward just a bit, George. It wants to go behind you, past your feet. I want you to keep it over your ankles. Nice, Neil. Now push that bar up as you sit there. Yeah, that's it. Full extension. Treat this stick like it's always 100 kilos, yeah? Or whatever you imagine 100 kilos feels like. I don't actually know what that feels like overhead. I'm going to move the couch over so you can get through. Sorry, guys.
That dog is great.
Yeah, Doug. He's not going to move now at all. All right.
She's missing all this chewy content.
It is. I can't do anything about it. So, we're going to lure him out. All right, there we go. Okay, we're going to move the camera. There we go. This should make it harder for him to get through. All right. After every 3 of these guys, take a break, put the stick down and shake it out. So one of the most important things for you to do in this position is pull those shoulder blades back nice and tight. Because if he doesn't, start before you pull it back, leave him slack. Now pull it up and through. See how far that stick comes away from his chest? We need those shoulder blades to stay back nice and tight. 1, because it's a strong position to work from, but 2, because it keeps that bar really close to the chest. So that amount of tension between those shoulder blades after 2 or 3 is all you need to put yourself through. Nice, Izzy. It's a good, strong position, and that bar is exactly where I want to see it at the end. That's better too, George. Lovely. Nice, Sophie. Don't forget to hold the bottom of that squat. Once you're down there, drive that bar overhead, hold it for a count of 3, and then stand up, continually pressing it up to the sky, ceiling, wherever you're at. I don't think anybody's outside. I hope nobody's outside. It's cold. Yeah, that's a much better position, George. Can you feel the difference?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. It can be tricky to feel it sometimes, but once you get that position where that bar is over the shoulders and the shoulders are over the hips and over the feet, try to really memorize that position, because then no matter what happens when you're down in that receipt, if you can find where that weight is where it should be, then even if you're off on one side or another, if you've picked one side up more than another, if that bar is over where it should be, not forward. If it's side to side, you can save it. Nice. Push those knees out, Izzy, before you stand it up. Let's have everybody go through one more set. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So Rich, I'm seeing as you go along, that bar is coming more and more in front of you. Yeah.
Okay.
So as that fatigue sets in, pull back to just 2. Yeah. And try to really focus on keeping that bar overhead. Although we're done for that for this moment. All right. We are going to come up and look at where the magic happens. So the beginning of that magic happening, for those of you that saw the Facebook post today, that's my favorite photo ever. And I've had it up on my wall for I don't know how long, because that's how it feels to me. There's the beginning of the snatch. I know how that should feel. And the end of the snatch in between, or at the end. And the in between is a constant struggle to find it the right feel. But we're going to work on that tonight. So when we start in the startup position of the snatch, we're going to look at the slow first pull to begin with. So we're going to start with a nice slow pull up to the knee and then up to mid thigh. And we're going to stop there. And then we're going to lower back down, pulling those knees out of the way. So turn sideways. There we go. So if you watch, the bar doesn't come around Heath's knees. Oh, your hips move faster than your shoulders. Come back down. Make sure those shoulders come up with the hips. There you go. In one motion. Stop at the mid thigh. Last time. Shoulder, shoulder, shoulders. There you go. Stop. There we are. So we want the bar, we want the knees to move out from the bar, and we want the shoulders and hips to move at the same time. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this first pull today, but we're going to spend a little bit of time on it to set us up in the right position for this next part where we're going to focus on the hip extension. So again, for a set of 3, I want you to start from the beginning. Okay, get those shoulders up a little faster, George. Those hips are coming up before the shoulders. We want them to move concurrently. And I want you to stop mid-thigh where those shoulders are still just slightly in front of the bar. Just a little higher, Rich. That was almost it. Good position is. Nice, Sophie. And good eye position as well. Neil, are you looking at the ceiling? Or is it the camera angle?
I think
I want
it's
you to look
I'm
straight
looking
ahead.
Shall I'll wiggle my camera a bit?
No, that's okay. I just want to make sure you're looking straight ahead. If you're doing that, I'm all good.
I'm definitely doing that.
Okay. Nice. That's excellent timing on the joints, Rich. The shoulders and hips are moving together, and that's exactly what we want. Take some time to stop at the top. When you hit that mid-thigh position, make sure your shoulders are just barely in front of the bar, because that's where we're going to be in the optimal position for the most important part of the speed through the middle. We're going to go through this a couple more times, so take your time, do 3, shake it out, take a deep breath. Look at the cobwebs that need to be cleaned out of the corner, whatever it is. I was George, there's no way I could be working out in my kitchen. I'd be looking at all the food I want to eat.
Can I, Ellie, when you're at the start position,
Yes.
do you have shoulders kind of over the top of the bar?
The shoulders should be just in front of the bar. The bar should be, can you see this on Heath? It's a little tricky.
And
the armpit should be on top of the bar, but the shoulder should be in front of it.
Okay. And is the gaze is down?
No, the gaze should not be down. The gaze should be straight ahead. So the goal when you're lifting is you want to pick a point on the wall in front of you, and you want to keep that focus for the entirety of the lift. One of the dangers in the snatch is watching that bar go up and overhead. You want to pick that point in front of you and look at it and keep it in your eyesight the whole time. Nice, good, slow, controlled work. Lovely. All right. Finish up your last sets. All right, so we're gonna start now at the top of the end of that first pull. So he's gonna set up with those shoulder blades back nice and tight. He's gonna lower down to that mid thigh, nice and, for Pete's sake. No, just let him lay down. Just you keep doing it. Go. You just do what you're doing while he judges you silently. Lower down. Okay. And from there, he is just going to jump up. You're just going to jump up. Yep. Let your feet come off the ground. There we go. And now lower down to just below the knee and do the same thing. Okay. Higher. I want you to jump like, yeah, explode out of the floor. If you don't have the ability to jump where you're at right now, then that's fine. But if you have the ability, I want you to try to explode out of the floor. We're going to do one from mid thigh, keeping those shoulders over the bar until the hip extends. And then you're going to lower down and do one from just below the knee. Nice. Seeing good height. If it feels odd because you're jumping super high, because you have a weightless stick in your hand, imagine how that will be when you have 15, 20, 40, 60, however many kilos in your hand, and think about how much force you really need to put through it. Now make sure as you're jumping up that you're driving out of the whole foot and not rolling forward onto the toe. Yeah? We need you driving out of that back side because that weight is in front of you. And if you're rolling up on your toes and jumping, that weight will pull you forward. So go ahead and do one and one, then take a break, and then go again. We're going to do this for about 5 minutes. One from mid thigh, one from just below the knee. Nice control, Rich. All right, so that's something I'm seeing quite a few of you. When you explode up, there's really good height, but then coming down, there's very little control. And this is where we want to have a lot of control. So coming back into the position. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Come on, big man. Out of the way. I know, if only he was helpful, but he's not. He knows exactly where it is. Come on. Yeah, we can see you now. Yeah. Big jump, super. But everything is still tense. If we you jump to the top, you let go and you're loose. So you're jumping high, but you're staying nice and tight because you've got that weight in your hand. There's no way you're going to jump and go loose with 100 kilos in your hand.
Ellie, what does it look like when you say
Yeah.
you're losing control?
So let's go again.
Now? What is?
Here, I'll show you. Go ahead and keep an eye, Rich. Oh, wait. What happened? Froze. There we go. Go ahead. I think. Now lose control. Jump and don't be in.
Okay.
It froze. Oh, can you see that?
Yeah, I saw that.
So some people are jumping really high, and that looks exaggerated, but it's really not. If you're jumping really high but not keeping tension, that off balance landing, which I'm seeing in some people, is what we want to avoid. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, no worries. Another interesting thing, if you can, look at where your feet are on the floor when you start and see if that's where you end. If you're jumping forward or backward, which is pretty common, then you want to make note of that, and we want to try to correct that. George, don't come quite so low. Come just below the knee for the second one. Nice. All right. Finish up these sets. That was lovely control, Rich. Nice, Sophie. Good. Honestly, I expected to spend more time on this, but everybody here is doing really well with that extension portion. So we're going to move on. And we're going to now take that jumping pull and we're going to add in a muscle snatch. So we're going to go from just below the knee, still pulling those shoulder blades back nice and tight. We're going to do one jumping pull. So this time we're going to let the elbows come into play. And then we're going to drop down to our hang. And with the same motion, we're going to come up and muscle snatch. We still want that big hip extension. So one big pull from below the knee, and then one big muscle snatch. Did you just hit your rib? Ah. I'm seeing some great power snatches. I want you to have so much extension at this point that you're doing a full muscle snatch. So you shouldn't be getting back under that bar. Let's show one more time. Okay, sorry guys, let me explain this one more time. So we're doing the big full pull on the first one. Oh, yep. Then on the second one, I want the extension to be so strong that that bar flies all the way up and overhead and you don't have to drop under it. So a muscle snatch means you don't rebend under the bar, you don't pull under it. We want so much extension through those hips right now that we're moving straight into the muscle snatch. Yeah, that's it. Bar's flying now. And this is harder for you, Izzy, obviously, but I know you got it. There you go. Huh? Yeah, she's using a barbell. So the point of this is to keep that hip extension going from those jumps and replicate it so it feels the same. You were jumping before, now you're pulling with that jump, and we're adding in the overhead. Ideally, everything going on in the lower body is exactly the same through all these movements. Nice pull, good tight elbows, George. Now bring that bar, when you go up into your overhead muscle snatch, make sure you push it straight up and overhead so it doesn't come behind you. Yeah. That becomes all the more important when you're working with light weight, because you've got so much force, it has a tendency to send the bar behind you, and we want to make sure that we're driving it straight up overhead. Nice. I love it when you guys moved in synchronized timing. It's awesome. Everybody goes at once. I know I couldn't come up with it. Awesome. Excellent. All right, finish up those sets. Okay, I'm going to yammer at you for just a minute, and then I promise you'll get back to some movement. So there was a really good discussion this week over at USAW. And for those of you that don't know, if by my horrible American accent, that's where I started. And that's where I spend a lot of time, US weightlifting. And it was talking about the attention that we pay to all of these movements. Yeah. And if you are in a workout in the gym with weight, or you are here, either way, you're going to be putting that barbell up and over your head in a snatch session 100 times. If you're only really focused and putting intention into the movements where it's heavy, then you've missed 80, 90 different reps where you could be driving this skill set. So when we're in these classes, especially with the lockdown, leaving most of us at home to work with a broomstick. For me as a coach, this is almost a minor dream. Now, don't get me wrong. I'd rather be in a room with you, seeing your faces. But this is the kind of stuff that, myself included, we don't take the time to do enough of. Yeah. So as you're going through these, I want you to really focus on that bar or that pipe or whatever's in your hand. I want you to treat it like it's your PB max. Use as much intention through these movements with this bar as you would with a maximum amount of weight overhead, because that will transfer so well when we get back to the barbell. Yeah. Okay. My rant is complete. We're going to move on to the next part. We're going to now go from a mid shin pull, but just below the knee. And we're going to take that muscle snatch and we're going to turn it into a hang power snatch. So this time, I don't want you to exaggerate the jump, but I want you to do a big, strong pull. No, from just below the knee, do a full pull. Not slow. Sorry. There we go. And now to a hang, and you're going to power snatch. Good. So the idea is, as we're doing this, again, it should be the same movement we've been doing for all these exercises. Even though we're not exaggerating the jump, we should still be driving up as high as we can. Yeah. And then on the snatch, the hang snatch, it's going to be a little more controlled. But as soon as we get that bar up, we're going to pull ourselves underneath like we did at the beginning with those roll unders. Yeah. And we're going to punch that bar out overhead. So we're going to keep it a power snatch for now, but you're going to do one below the knee pull, and then one hang power snatch. Take a break, and then you get to go again. Good. Drive out of those heels, Izzy. Oh, Rich, I couldn't ask for a better line. That's ideal. Lovely. Luke, I lose your head when you go up, but it looks so strong. It looks like you've knocked your head off. Looks good. Nice, George. Good line. Those bars are staying nice and close to your bodies. It's great. Every half inch that bar comes away from you feels like another 5 kilos. So keeping those bars nice and close is invaluable. Until you smack yourself in the chin with the pipe because it doesn't weigh anything. Yeah, or forehead. Make sure you take your break between. I know it's just a stick, but honestly, it's a lot of work to keep those shoulder blades back and nice and tight, to keep that belly tucked in. George, I'm going to make you do these with the tie wrapped around your arms. Don't let that bar come back and behind you. I want you to make sure those shoulders stay over your hips. That's better. That's better. Because
am I going back from here to here?
yeah, when you go down under the bar for your power snatch, you're pushing back there. And because the reason it becomes all the more concerning the more weight that's on the bar. Yeah, because your shoulders aren't strong in that position. They're not built to be strong in that position. We want to make sure that we're driving right there all the time. Okay. So as you pull down, you're pushing yourself directly under that bar, not letting that bar swing around behind you. Oh, yeah. You can think about shrugging your shoulders up to where they're touching your ears. That can help you find that position. Okay, now I want you to stick your receipt. Heath, can you do a hang snatch and stick the receipt and hold it? So on the second one, on that power snatch, I want you to stick and hold, count to 2, and then stand it up. I want to really see those receipt positions. Some of you are rushing out of them pretty quick. Nice, George. That's so much better. Excellent. Yeah, Sophie, good. Like that intention. Neil, did that bar come away from you a little bit?
Probably, yes.
I want you to pull it in nice and tight. But I love the force of the extension. It's good. Now keep it close to you. There we go. Stick the landing, hold it, and then stand it up. We've got some delays. Everybody's stuck in the start position. Oh, there we go. Yeah. All right, and then take a break because you all deserve it. We have one last thing we're going to do before we finish out with some stretching. So now we're going to take it and we're going to go into our full snatch. So we're going to do one pull from hang with that same jump that we just did, nice and strong. And then from there, we're going to try to go from just below the knee for a full snatch. Full speed this time. Good. Oh, yeah, fix those arms. Do it again. Straight drive under. That's better. Yeah, that's it. And stick that receipt position. Don't stand it up too quick. All right. Just one pull from the hang and then one full snatch. Stick that receipt, wait for a couple seconds, stand it up, and then take a break before going again. Nice, Sophie. Strong extension. Good, Izzy. So George, when you lower down, think about pulling your knees out of the way just like you do coming up. If we practice that going up and down, it will just become automatic for our lower body to do. So try not to move the bar out and around the knees. but pull the knees back out of the way. Good arm position, lovely. Stick that receipt position, be comfortable in the bottom of that squat. Hold it for a couple, drive those shoulders straight up and then stand it up. That's better, George. Those arms are over those hips. That's great. Good, Neil. Now really drive under. Yes. Nice, Izzy. Good, strong receipt position. All right. We're going to take a break from the stick now. We're going to put it down for just a second. We're going to, don't put it too far away. We're going to come back to it. But we're going to do a quick set of accessory work, yeah? So, he's like, what? I did not sign up for this. So one of the things that is the first fault that I'm seeing as we're going through these, and it's understandable because it's an exhausting position to hold, but that tension between the shoulder blades, yeah? I think almost all of us can use more work there. So we're gonna come down onto the floor, onto the stomach. Heath's gonna show you this. You're gonna start with your hands down by your hips, keeping your palms facing down. You're gonna rotate them up. Yep. Bring the hands up to over the head. No. Keep them close to the floor. Yep, there you go. Good. And back. And again. And let me see if I can. There we go. So these helicopters can be done with no weight at all and just constantly squeezing those shoulder blades together. If after you've done 3 sets of 10 of these, you think that's just cake, I don't know what I was thinking, grab a couple of cans, put them in your hand, and do it again. Because I guarantee you, all you need is a can of whatever you might have a can good of. I don't know what people have in their cans these days. But these are quite taxing because we don't spend a lot of time with that tension between the shoulders. So I want you to do a set of 10, nice and slow. Take a good break. We're going to do 3 sets of those, and then we're going to stretch out our QL and be done for the day. Did you say you're not doing it? This is awesome. I just see the occasional movement of a hand.
Do we keep our forehead on the ground? Sorry.
Ideally, yes, depending on what kind of ground you're on. What we don't want to do is have a great deal of strain in the neck. If you do need to lift your face off the floor, think about pushing it away, getting as long as you can while lifting it up just enough. For those of you that don't have dog hair on the floor, you are at a huge advantage from the rest of us. Slower, Izzy, slower. Keeping those shoulder blades pulled back together through the whole range of motion. And try to bring those hands all the way back to the hips, and then reaching all the way up and overhead. So get into a 90-90 lunge. Yeah. Put the bar behind you. Now you're going to put that end of it in front of that knee. Okay. So we're going to pull your arm out. So put the bar by your hip. bottom on the inside of it. There we go. Reach up and overhead with the back. Yeah, now twist. So try to push the bottom of the bar can come back towards you. There we go. So I want you to think more about, instead of just going forward, stop, because you're moving your knee. You keep your knee over your ankle and twist the top of your body back and forward. Okay. I want that arm to go that way. You're trying, okay. Get that. Are we loving these helicopters?
Oh, yeah.
Did anybody grab soup? No, not yet. So the smallest amount of weight on these, even a 0.25, a 0.5, the smallest of fractionals will make a very big difference. If you go too big with these, you're just asking for trouble soon, but they're really valuable. They're easy to do if you just make the time for them. So anyway, it's there. That's your accessory work.
How often would you do them, Ellie?
I do them a few times a week. Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna have words here with Demo Man. All right. So has everybody gotten through? Oh, nope, George is still working. That's cool. Also think about pushing your hands out away from you as far as you can so that you're making as big a circle as possible. All right, the last thing we're gonna do is a QL stretch. So you're gonna grab your bar again or your PVC pipe. If you have a pipe, you'll find that easier to use than a weighted bar.
I don't have one.
Okay, then let's see how this goes. I've done it, but it's tricky.
I could use this.
You can use the band as well, Izzy.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
you had one of those. All right, so what we're looking to stretch on this one is your quadratus lumborum, which is this lower back area that can get super tight, especially when working overhead. So the way that we do that is we come down into a lunge position, a nice 90-90, where the hip's over the back knee and the front knee is over the ankle. You're gonna put the pipe next to the foot. Put the pipe next to the foot. There we go. And your arm comes down and grabs the bottom of it. Your opposite arm comes up to the top. So if you can do this from the pipe on the back of your shoulders, can you do that? The way we were talking. There we go. The idea, there it is. We want to push forward and across. You should feel, so what we need for you, Luke, is for your arm, your arm to be fully extended overhead. So you should feel the stretch through the back of that shoulder. George, I think you need to bring the bottom of your pipe back towards you so that it pushes, allows your other end overhead to be the one that's farthest away from you. I may be overstretching thinking we can do this one on Zoom, but I see it happening. We'll get there. Sophie, that's quite a face you're making. So the goal is the arm overhead should be reaching forward and behind you for a big stretch. So Rich, you're gonna have to bring your bottom arm in front of the pipe. Keith, can you show how to grab it again? So that arm has to come in front. to brace it behind you and then pull it back in and push overhead. So Izzy, I want you to reach now even farther overhead and farther behind you. It could just be the angle. If you're there, you're there. Can you feel a good stretch in your lower back? No.
Which way is my arm meant to go?
So the arm that's overhead should be going up and in front and behind you at the same time. So you're reaching, I'm gesticulating and I just realized you guys can't see what I'm talking about. So Heath is reaching forward and behind him with that upper arm.
Okay, I'm starting to feel it now.
Okay. Rich is like, you're out of your mind. There's no way.
Oh,
Okay, let's try the cheater model for those of you that are struggling with this. And that is coming down onto your knees. Placing your hands out in front of you, farther in front of you. Okay, you're gonna pin your left arm. Put your right hand. Yep, and then you're gonna sit your hips back to the right. So you're pulling a big stretch. Okay, then you wanna, if you're gonna stretch that direction, you wanna pin the other arm. Yeah, I know, I meant your other right. Nope, nope, put your right hand. No, put the other hand where your hands are right now. There we go. And now lean back and pull. So you're going to pin your hand in front of you, sit your hips back and pull a big stretch rounding through the side. The more you can drive that hip back and low, the more that lower back will come into play. Either one should be a good stretch for overhead work, which you guys did a lot of tonight. So I have to tell you guys that I usually spend a lot of my week dreading Zoom calls. I really do. I'm not a fan of this kind of technology. I'm a Luddite. I sit there and I dread it. And then when I get on these classes with you guys, it makes my whole week. So I'm really excited to see you, but I can't wait till we're all in person doing this again. In the meantime, thanks for coming, guys. Really good work.
thank you, Ellie. Thank
Overhead
you.
position looks excellent.
Thanks,
And
Elliot.
thanks
Thanks,
for your
Heath.
patience with the dog.
Thank you so much, Heath and I.
Thank you.
Cheers,
All right,
Elliot.
have a good week, guys.
You too. Bye.
The dog guest appearances are great. That's part of it.
I can't stop him.
Hey, bring him to the gym when we get back.